Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee. My name is Michael Ruggio. I'm the Director of Rhode Island Jobs and Justice. We're strongly in support of increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour in Representative Rankin's bill. Doug Hall laid out most of the statistics, as well as I believe Christina and Georgia also laid out sort of the demographics of who are minimum wage and low wage workers in the state. They don't look like usually how they are represented. They're older, they are parents, they are better educated, they are really kind of the backbone of this economy in a lot of ways, right? And so, as Doug pointed out, when we don't increase the wage, what actually happens is a net loss in earnings. So, inflation goes up, wages don't go up, and we lose that. So there's that. The other parts that we should think about is that one of the complaints that we hear from small business in particular is how devastating this is going to be on small businesses. And yet, when National Restaurant Association conducted a poll with Frank Lutz back in 2014, more than 62% of small businesses supported a significant increase in the minimum wage, with more than 58% of them supporting an increase to $12 an hour immediately, and 40% supporting an increase to $15 phased in. They worked very hard to suppress that report. Worked very hard at that for lots of very obvious reasons. Is that their own indication of having workers who have spending money in their pockets in a consumer-driven economy, which is what we have, is something that benefits business. By not putting money in the pocket, money that they earn through their productivity, means that you're actually removing money from the economy, not bolstering, not strengthening. We have seen the growth of our economy over the last 4 to 5 years based on our wage increases. Providence Business News put out the report, I believe 3 weeks ago, saying that one of the lead indicators of our improved climate has been the increase of wages around the state. Those wages base is the minimum wage. You increase that, you increase surrounding wages. And then there's discussion about the cut of hours inside workplaces that have increased minimum wages. This is a patently false argument, and it's been a false argument for a long time for very, very obvious reasons. People work based on what they need to earn. They would rather spend time with their families. They would rather go to school. They would rather do other productive things. They would rather start businesses, possibly. When you increase the wage, you mean that they don't have to be in the workplace as long as they are. That phenomenon was seen in the SeaTac area when unemployment dropped to 2% following the increase to $15 an hour, and we saw a cut in hours based on needs of workers, not based on the needs of the employer. It shifted the power dynamic, and that's a significant reason to do it. Our democracy is based on the people, the majority of people, not on a minority who can complain about a specific problem, right? Like, we know that, and we know that that's where our basis is. To ensure strong civic life and to ensure a healthy economy means that you start from the outside and you work your way in. You start with the people who are on the margins of an economy and you bring them into the center of the economy. And the way to do that is with wages. That's why we fight for wages. Obviously, there are other ways to increase wages through collective bargaining and direct organizing. But in this climate, in the restaurant industry, we have seen that that is nearly impossible because of retaliation. Had they been neutral, we could organize them. And I think some in this room would probably agree that if we got agreements for neutrality inside those organizations, inside those businesses, we could do it. And then we could let the market decide what the wage is. But right now, we don't have that. And right now, this is the collective bargaining agreement that we need to get, is that all the workers who are making less than what they need to make need to earn what they make. They need to get paid for the value of their work. Having one set of workers who are carved out because they perform a traditionally unvalued work like serving is both anti-democratic, but it also reeks of some of the ugliest parts of our history, where we segregate one population from the other based on some aspect of their identity. That's the root of the tip system, which was formed in 1866 following the Civil War, when the formation of the NRA, which the Restaurant Association is part of, right? This is a deep thing, that the foundation of this keeping wages low is rooted in so much of our bad history, and there's so much of it that we can undo in this room if we choose to do it. We have a moral case for it, we have an economic case for it, we have a social case for it, we have a civic case for it. The counter arguments are reduced to just a few simple points. I'm afraid I'll lose my business, which is patently untrue. It's been one of the most tested subjects around, that when you increase pools of money, people do better. Robots will invade is another one of my favorites, that low-wage workers will be replaced by robots, but most automation is in middle-class jobs, i.e. not too many prostate operations have been done by a human being in the last 15 years. This is where that's going. We like the people who do the work. We love our people at the end of the day. But in order to serve our society best and to serve each other best, we need to make sure that people are getting a fair day's pay and an honest day's pay for the actual productivity that they produce. And we have delinked that for too long, and by restoring a meaningful minimum wage with the Representative's bill, we start to undo the damage that's been done. So I'm urging passage, I'm urging strong consideration of it, but I'm also urging that possibly the Restaurant Association could look at neutrality agreements across the board to allow the market to decide what the wage should be.